If we accept, and I'm taking information now from various sources, you can Google, you can do all sorts of things about this yourself, but we took an average of information that's out there so that we could put things into perspective again in how all of this relates to ONPASSIVE and the products that we've heard Ash talk about. So keep an open mind, keep an open heart, and this is where we're going today. So today's population in the world is approximately 8 billion people. For most of us, it's a large number, but we don't fully understand what that big number really amounts to. So think of it this way. For every leaf that is on a tree, for every blade of grass that is in the ground, for every grain of sand that you come across on beaches and on the deserts, for every grain of rice, for every seed that gets harvested and planted in farmers' fields around the world, add all of that together and we still have not reached 8 billion people. So this is the type of size that we're looking at. Now, take that 8 billion, and for the purpose of this discussion, we're using that as the 100% of humanity. So with what I'm going to go through, we will be talking in percentages of that 100%. And here we go. So out of 100% of the people on planet Earth, 11% are in Europe, 5% are in North America, 9% are in South America, with 15% in Africa and 60% in Asia. Now, when we started doing the research on these numbers and we started talking about it and asking each other, these numbers were not what we thought. Again, putting things into perspective, that 49% of people around the world live in villages, whereas 51% live in cities. Now, most of us think, those of us who speak English, and many who speak English, that English is the #1 language in the world. No, 12% of people around the world speak Chinese, with 5% speaking Spanish. English, there is 5% of the world's population, 3% speak Arabic, 3% speak Hindi, 3% speak Bengali, 3% Portuguese, and 2% Russian. 2% Japanese, and 62% of people around the world, have and speak their own language. And I don't speak those languages. So again, put things into perspective. Just because we're not hearing something in our language doesn't mean to say it is happening in another culture or in a different language. 77% of people around the world have housing, and 23% have nowhere to live. The homeless are approximately 200 million to 1 billion people around the world. And there are over 850 million people living in extreme poverty, which means they're living on $1.90 a day. Less than $2 a day is nearly 1 billion people. 21% of the people in the world overeat, while 63% can eat as much as they want, and 15% of people are malnourished. With those numbers, do you realize that more than half the world's population are overweight? And with the rate of obesity going above 50% by 2033, that is going to be over 4 billion people at today's rate. Unemployment is between 225 million to 1.5 billion, and the employed are approximately 3.4 billion around the world. The daily cost of living for 48% of the world is less than $2. 13% do not have clean drinking water or have access to contaminated water source. And 70% of the global population live in water insecure countries, meaning that it is not safe to drink. Now, some more facts. These relate a little bit more to ONPASSIVE and the marketing and the messages that Ash has been giving us. There are approximately 6.9 billion mobile phones, which is nearly 86% of the population, 86%. 14% don't have one mobile phone. 30% have internet access in the world, where 70% do not have it. And there are approximately 16 billion mobile devices globally, and this number is expected to reach 19 billion by the end of 2025. What has Ash said? Mobile telephones and mobile devices are the way for marketing, and that's where he came through with having things the right size and configured to what we have, our phones and our pads and other things. 77% of people in the world have received higher studies and higher education. 93% of people in the world did not go to college or university. Education holds a very high value in so many cultures. What product have we talked about in ONPASSIVE that is going to help so many? 83% can read and 70% of the world is illiterate. 26% live to be less than 14 years old. 66% die between 15 and 64 years of age. And only 8% of people are over 65 years of age in the world. If you have a place to eat, you live well, you're healthy food, and you drink clean water, have a mobile phone, travel the internet, and have graduated from a college or university, you are in a very small and privileged group. Only 8% of the world live to be 65 years of age or older. So let's be grateful. Let's realize where we're at in the world. And 92% of people who have died because of health, and we have a lot of living to do. So let's cherish every moment that we have left. Now, with regards to money in the world, today is Black Friday, and I'll come to that in a minute. But as Marty said, did you know that the private wealth currently in the world is over 454 trillion US dollars? And that number is from 2022, so it's higher than that now. There are approximately 50 million millionaires around the world. And there are approximately 3,194 billionaires around the world. And their total personal value for those 3,000 billionaires is $13 trillion in just under 100 countries. The highest wealth rung controls $210 trillion in wealth, or nearly 50% of the global total of the money that's out there. And just 1.1% of the world adult population falls into this bracket. Those with the 100,000 to 1 million financial stream or household wealth are the next greatest share at nearly 40% of the population. Now, specific to this weekend, today being Black Friday, as I mentioned, and Monday is Cyber Monday. On Black Friday, for those who are not familiar with it, it means that there are special deals of between 25 and 30% that you can purchase either online or offline. And Cyber Monday, again, with approximately 25 to 30% in discounts and sales, are only available online on Monday. And Cyber being because it is the online purchasing only. So the predictions for Black Friday sales, that's today in North America, are expected to exceed $130 million. That's up 69% over last year in the US. And the predictions for Cyber Monday sales, which is this coming Monday, are expected to go above $13 billion US, up nearly 24% over last year of 2022. Smartphone on Cyber Monday sales are expected to exceed 55%. And as I said, the average discount is approximately 30% in North America, with international discounts in the range between 28 and 30% for most countries. Toys are the #1 purchases made at this time, followed very closely by electronics. So this information has come from various sources and online research groups already who've got their numbers out there, the WHO, Practical Commerce, the Nielsen's IQ, Adobe, and World Statistics, as well as many others. And if you go ahead and Google any of these for you to find out for yourself, you will get different responses based on how you pose your questions in the Googling and in the research browsers. So let's put all of this into context, and I'm sure Chris will help us with components of this that he is very, very interested in and where his heart lies. And then I hope Marty will also come back and add a few comments about, in general, how this is going to be beneficial. These numbers are going to be seen to help the world and to be helped by ONPASSIVE and what we will be doing throughout all of this.